everyone. I've noticed there's been a lot of distractors recently, and while I'm glad to know that we have more of them, some are quite uninformed on how to distract in the most authentic way. So, this video is meant to sort of combat that issue directly, by informing all of the tactics I specifically use to get me up to high floors. Granted, most of you will learn this via experience, but I will show you everything and not just tell. Starting off, what is required to distract well, and what toons can distract? Good question, dear viewer. Because of that, I've divided this video into segments. I'll go into every single distraction toon in the game, as well as personal recommendations for long-term distraction. For long-term distraction, you need a comfortable mousepad, or a spot where your iPad/phone is comfortably placed, and your wrist will not be hurt in any manner. I also recommend watching and testing your ping/Wi-Fi, as bad ping or bad Wi-Fi can affect your distraction abilities. You also need to know how to distract everything, as well as multiple things. For here, I'll go over movement and distraction spot basics. Number 1, you want big open spaces most of the time. Close areas are very dangerous, and it's important to be wary of where you're distracting. Number 2, long aisles should be prioritized with rangers, as well as fast toons. Dandy as well. Number 3, watch everyone around you. You need to look in all directions. Even in blackouts, you need to be wary of the map you're playing on. This is important because if you do not know where you're going or where you're navigating, you can get people injured by accident, and it's very important that you keep those toons safe while you're trying to commit to long runs. Now for movement styles, here's what I've gathered. These will all be named by me personally, so you don't have to use these names, but this is what I wanted to categorize them as. Loops are looping in a pattern, usually seen around objects, and is the most common distracting form. Basically, I always loop at inactive, but that's just me. Stoplights are used with rangers, Pebble, and Dandy. It's a long aisle. You use it to kite across because for some, they're either going to be fast or they're going to be ranged, and you need to watch where you're going. A part is an instance in where a distractor moves between multiple toons. So basically, if the toons are spaced out, you can slide between those and they'll come together. Wide turning is self-explanatory. It's used to catch both slow and fast toons. And also, wide turning keeps everyone in your area safe. So like if you have someone with high stealth doing a machine, but there's a sharp turn, you want to do wide turning. Sharp turning is used for Shelly and Toodles. I do it just because they're really fast and you need to have long distances. Gapping is a large gap of distance between the player and the Twisteds. And all of the methods and code words, all the stuff I use personally, will be mentioned in a Google Doc as I learn and practice myself. But these are the methods I particularly use to keep my team safe. So you don't have to use them, but I recommend it. What Twisteds can I distract together? So these are just from experience. I may have forgotten some, which I'll add on if I haven't. But these are the ones that I have a lot of experience in distracting and can tell you what you can put together. So Shrimpo and Finn are the slowest, and they can go with every combination. You will never struggle with these two, and I'll show you how to distract them perfectly with like Shelly, Toodles, all those. There is a method for it, and I'll show you how to do that. Cosmo, Poppy, Boxton, Tisha, Brightney, Astro, all the basic common ones that just walk around normally and don't really do that much. Can usually be done with other toons. Sometimes they can't, but most of the times they can. Scraps and Goob need to be separated. They are very tricky, and you have to know the strategy when you're doing like stoplights. You need to use stoplights in order to do these two, and other twisted just cause a ruckus. GG can be done with other toons, but they can become scraps and goob if you have items, and they can be normal if you don't have items. So GG is very weird in the sense that you need two methods to do her. Sprout and Dandy are very slow, just be wise when distracting these two. Do not go in tight corners, do not pull sharp turns with Dandy. Pebble, you literally just cannot distract them with their toons. I'm sorry, it's not working. It's not happening. It is not happening. V, you can distract with some twisteds. Now, what can I distract V with? Shrimpo and Finn, definitely. You can distract them with V. But where I draw the line is when you get to common twisteds like Astro, you know, ones that are faster than V. That is where you get the problem. And these are just the ones that I can categorize personally. I might have forgotten some, but like, it should be fine. What toons are good for distraction? So this is a question people always ask, and it's really hard to explain because you can distract with every toon. It's not a problem. You can do it with every toon. Granted, Shrimpo, you can't really distract that well, but you can with every toon. It's how the game works. Now, distraction toons are toons that are meant for distracting and are meant to keep teams alive. So I will specifically go into those ones, and just kind of show you guys what I personally use. So Goob is very well used. It's very good for pulling in players and keeping aggro. Goob cannot distract Twisted Pebble. That is a little bit of a curb, and Goob cannot take certain combinations like Pebble can. Pebble is the best distractor. He can take everything. So you don't really need to worry with a Pebble. But Goob is always good for like the team in general. So if you have a Goob on your team, like that's good. Flutter's decent. She can take everything Goob can. She's more of a survivalist in the sense that she can't really pull other people in or keep them safe. Tisha, very good starter semi-distractor. If you're getting into distracting, please use a Tisha. She's very good, and I just recommend it. That's just all the ones I personally know how to use. There may be others, but I have experience with them, and I've played them before, so I can speak on them. Line of sight and stealth. These two are always what causes problems. You need to understand as a distractor how these function on a normal basis. So, LOS, line of sight, is how the AI functions. When you move behind a box, your LOS timer ticks down. And where stealth comes into play is if you have higher stealth, it ticks down faster. If you have lower stealth, it ticks down slower. It is key to understanding how Dandy's world works, and just in general is most useful for distracting. Stealth affects your line of sight in the sense that twisteds do not chase you as long and often do not see you, depending on the amount of stars you have. As a distractor, understanding these elements are key. You must understand every toon's stealth very well to understand how to distract for the team in a safer way. Communication is key. You need it a lot in this game. Communicating as a distractor is painful because you can't really stop to type or do any of that stuff. And looping will definitely affect your ability to communicate because you're going around in a circle or going straight in a line, doing gapping. And as such, is bad for both you and your team. Here's how I do it. Personally, I always stick to voice chat. Alright, Scraps is on the loose. Careful.
Just grab general, fine. We're all here, we're all here. Go, go.
Scraps is ungrabbed. You need to work with your team on that. It may be hard in public server lobbies to do it, but private server lobbies, if you express that clearly to them, they will understand you. And that's just my take on it. I usually don't do public server lobbies that much anyways, so there's not much advice I can give on that. Finally, distracting. I've already set down all the basics for you. Now, to distract, how do I really do that? It's actually much simpler than people think it is. But you could distract as any toon. You've done it before. If you've hid behind boxes, you distract the toon away from other people, and you know, it's really not that hard. Using all this advice from this tutorial, it should help you prevail in these type of elements. And if you ever need help on distracting, please feel free to reach out. Whether it's on stream when you want to ask a question, which, by the way, I stream here on YouTube, so come check me out whenever you want. But whether it's asking me a question on stream or looking at other videos to help you, never feel scared to reach out. I will always look at anything, pretty much. But yeah, I guess that concludes this. I wanted to go in depth about it as much as I could to sort of help. I know that distracting is hard for some, and some people do not understand it or how it works. And this is just a general guide. When you distract, it'll be your own journey of learning and growing. And that's the beauty of it. Please, if you're distracting, be careful about your health and watch yourself very well. I know that when I distract, I get a lot of wrist pain from spinning in circles constantly with my mouse. And, you know, having to prop my wrist on my desk. And just be very wary about your health and just about yourself. If you're ever in a run where it's beginning to affect you badly, you can either get someone else to distract or just hide from this, just play the game without all the distracting part. And yeah, I guess that concludes this. I'm Sleepy Wyver, and I'm out. I don't know how to do endings, I swear to God, bro. What the f- Oh.